All right. So, good thing is again, it takes a bit to get my voice, I think, but again, we are continuing carrying on with this, right? Again, really not much to talk about. We finally made our way to chapter 3. And or not chapter 3, right? But the present day in chapter 3, right? Which is a pretty big deal. We made it through the backstory, the flashbacks, all of the such, right? And really kind of the again, we're gonna see in well, I mean, let me just again. So my guess is we're only getting two of these three endings because Lord knows where this engagement ring is. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. So again, I do think we're looking at getting two of the three. That last, ending, we'll see what happens, right? But again, it's like I still think it's crazy. Like again, I to me, I find that weird where they put so much importance on the choice of whether or not to shoot the hitman once or and unload. And I just so happened to go back. I'm so glad I did. I just so happened to go because, like, again, obviously, part two, none of this shit really matters, right? Or chapter two, I should say, because chapter two doesn't really have any of those like endings, right? It's just about the game and the story, right? You know, However, right? It's just I've the choice shooting Andy I can see, right? Or Andrew, Jesus Christ. My thing there is I wish it would have like been or like shown some sort of difference, right? That way you can kind of confirm it, but because it's basically been the exact same up until now. But at some point it's gonna diverge, and that's something to where it's like I don't because even if it didn't immediately diverge, at least some difference in reaction. Again, it is just like it's something to where it's like it is annoying, but hello? What did I just do? Okay, I don't know why that took like 10 billion. That was never a thing before. I was gonna say like it never, All right. So yeah, we're literally just fucking around. Um, hey, my bad. I was gonna say like because that's where we went, obviously, Ha ha, quirky millennial humor, man. Shut the fuck up. Like suicide, like, dude, I swear it's like, I thank God we evolved past that type of humor. Like, you know, let's see. Hold on. Also, can we leave? What if I was gonna say, dude, we just stole that shit, right? You know, what the fuck? Did I soft lock the game? All right, what the hell is all right? Okay. I don't know what is up with the game. Also, can I just use the bathroom? Yeah, so I don't know why it's taking like 10 billion. Yeah, also I was gonna say like, all right, let's hygiene products, didn't even get anything for yourself, you know. Yeah, and again, it's the whole insurance all right, yeah, I was gonna say, can we skip past this? Because we know because there's no shot that because I was gonna say there's no shot that what did I even pick last time? We're not fucked. I was gonna say we're fine. Oh yeah, and then the cops what and then he just like tweaks the fuck out, you know. What if I just walk out like. Damn, my bad, bro. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, so freaking they found the skulls, right? So, well, I mean, they don't got the teeth. Hey, my bad, bruh. So what did I? Oh yeah, first, because again, we said stomach issues before, right? But all right, yeah, I was gonna say, dude, whatever you do, do not use this line. Yeah, she's a. Also, I was gonna say like freaking, crazy thing for her to walk into. Bruh, can we just leave? Just walk out. You can just like walk out. Like we don't need to be doing this right now. Like it's like you just some insane like, whenever the pickup line's a comparison, it's gonna be absolutely fucking insane. And I already know because I went through and looked at the choices we need to make for like to get whatever ending. This choice is literally zero impact. Like, oh yeah, and because what would you call it? Because when you choose the other option, right? We basically like rip open the bathroom door, and they catch us both like just fucking around in like the not literal, of course, but just like messing around in the bathroom, right? So, oh yeah, 77777. Goddamn. Sloppy parking. Yeah, it is low key dog shit parking. Because yeah, is this where we like actually like leave? Oh yeah, and then we have rock, dude. That's why I'm like, this is not a puzzle game. It is not. So how do we do this one again? So we pushed this one all the way here, pushed this one up to here, and then we were able to push again. Makes no sense how we would be able to push it from that way, but whatever, you know. Pushed it all the way here. Let's see. And then this one we pushed like this. And again, it is kind of a curiosity of like when it is gonna like split again, because at some point this will split, right? And I don't want to come upon that, choice, right? Because all right, so yeah, we need to go this way, right? Well, all we need to do is get through, right? So like we need to push this one, or I was gonna say we can actually all we do is this. So and then what we can do, so how do we go about doing this, right? Also, I was gonna say, because you were there always two op paths to pick? Hold on, am I stupid? Let me I was gonna say, were there always like, I guess so this I don't know if this is the second time I've done that or what's going on, but so let's do this. So how do we so to we need to do something like this. Are we supposed to move one? I guess what we do is we do this, right? So there we go. So yeah, I'm very curious when like again, we actually start to get along that portion of the game, right? So we have to push this one this way, up, and then this one we push this one up, push, and then push that all the way to the left. So, there we go. So, and again, so just we'll see. Again, in my guess, because I'm pretty sure we're not going to end up playing through like the entire thing. So, I guess we go to the other way later. So, yeah, and again, because we do use whatever, because we go to sleep, right? And then we actually use the trinket. And again, the funny because the thing being, we know it takes place after the Andy Andrew choice, right? So we choose Andrew, right? And then again, that's kind of where it differs based on us having chosen to shoot Andrew in the dream, right? So, so yeah, now we're back here, right? So loading again. So let's see. Is this where we actually get this choice? Because I think it is here. And again, she ruins it. We really should have just killed them. Like I swear on everybody's soul, I would have 100% killed Ashley like before he left that apartment. Yeah, and then we steal the trinket. And then, this is so again, and what's funny is this is the same place as because I swear we had to have played as Renee at the start of chapter 3. Like I have no doubt. And then again, this is where we run into these, little guys. Oh yeah, and this is where, we make the move and then they all oh, How did I do this one last time? I think, God damn it. All right. I was hoping oh, I was gonna say a tar soul, a tar soul, right? Forgot, where do we get the head again? Damn, I wonder who that is. So yellow doesn't matter. Give me that shit. Yeah, it's like, hey, too easy, we got it. Damn. And then we get consumed by this is Ashley coming into the dream to steal the trinket back from us. Yeah, I ain't reading all this. I just want to see where, and so this is where we get that choice, right? So, and yeah, so save game, right? And of course, we're Andrew, right? So let me again, just verify. Yeah, because in both of these, we choose Andrew, but because again, for whatever reason, Ashley shooting us in the dream like actually changes again, who knows, right? And then again, we Lord knows about, whatever engagement ring, bullshit, right? Haven't been able to find it. So we're just gonna be satisfied with 2 out of the 3. Damn, what the oh yeah, and this is where we beat the fuck out of her, you know, and cries like a little bitch. Oh yeah, and then this is when the people actually look into the car. Damn, he's like, damn, I need to smoke. Dude, actual nicotine. Yeah, it's like, hey, bitch, leave us the fuck alone. Logan, also, I was gonna say, dude, nobody would ever do this. Like, I would never knock on anyone else's car in real life like that. Yeah, so again, so let me actually go ahead and save this too. So was it up, right, up, left? So up, oh my God, my bad. So right, up, left. Right, right. So I'm curious, when like it's gonna change. So up, left, up, left, up, Up, left. There we go. Yeah, two orange, one pink, three blue. So one pink, two orange, three blue. But yeah, this is where because we're the ones who have to go to them, right? So maybe I guess what happens is so maybe rat again we end up, uh going like rather than um let's say actually end up, because this is where we enter basically that demon realm and never really leave. So maybe before that, this is kind of that actual like you know, oh yeah, and then again, oh yeah, I was gonna say cousin, because we said a friend previously, right? Or was it the inverse? I genuinely don't remember. Chances are we put a cousin, you know. Or I think we did like we probably went through both of these. I am just curious as to when this is actually gonna, kind of uh they tweaks the fuck out over losing his nicotine. Damn, I was gonna say, did we loot their bodies before? So again, I am curious where this actually like ends up differing. So, oh yeah, and I can't get through that hole, right? Oh yeah, it's I think the middle. Oh my God, I keep fucking this up. It's the one that's to the very right, correct? So I'm curious if, because again, there's no real other place, so we have no choice but to, smash that. Uh, can we go? That all right, so whoa, all right. So this is interesting. This is interesting, and particularly because is it gonna actually let me? That is This is all right. Because here's the thing. This is the interesting thing. One, I never bothered to check to see if we could do that, right? Because this seemingly should make a difference. Because, well, I guess the police were called regardless, right? But they're not seeing a dead kid. I'm curious if this will actually, make some sort of difference, right? Oh yeah, we got the good ending. The good ending. Oh, Jesus. So so really the only damn, what the fuck? He's like, all right, I'm off myself, you know. S- Hold on. Wait a second. So in the because again, in the other version, and I don't so is this actually because I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure I killed the kid every single time. I don't think there was a what would you call? I don't think there was a what would you call it? I don't think there was a playthrough where I didn't kill the kid. So, but this is the issue. So I don't know, is this a result of again her shooting us in the dream or us killing the kid? And or not killing the kid. And my issue here is like if this is a result of her shooting us in the dream, it's like way too late for this bullshit. You know? But the thing again, because this is definitely different. I don't recall this happening, right? Because I'm pretty sure it happened and then we just went bitch, if you don't fucking. So we're playing as Andrew in this scenario. That's actually interesting. So but obviously so it's the self-fulfillment, right? We need more flowers. I mean, so except this time, so that's interesting. So we're playing as and this is actually so interesting. And again, the reason being, hello. So flower seeds, right? The logs haven't dried out. Oh, we're gonna get her now. We're about to fuck her up. I'm not even gonna lie. So we're actually seeing like the fulfillment of the dream in real time. So she already, kind of went about. And again, this is her room, right? So it is kind of funny there. All right, what the fuck? All right, crazy. Come on, man. Like. Yeah, so we're finally seeing, Andrew like basically tell the truth here, right? Yeah, basically she's been the problem this whole time, regardless of, whether it was kids, whether it was in high school, whether it was now, she's always been the root and cause of every problem, you know. And again, this would have been me before we even left the apartment. Like I would have 100%, killed Ashley, right? I swear. All right, so what's the order? It is, and then what we need to do is because she blocked that, so then we pick this one, right? Got her ass. Get her out of here. Oh shit. About damn time. Yeah, that demon's gonna be a bit disappointed, right? Uh since they're no longer with us. And is this also I'm curious. So is this our ascension from a grime soul to a tar soul, right? Is that what that looks like? So yeah, I was gonna say, this is our ascension to tar soul. We'll take the talisman, damn, all right, well, fucking just. Yeah, I was gonna say, damn, dude, I literally would have done this before I even left the apartment. I swear. You know, damn. Rip GG's, bruh. Also, I was gonna say, frickin', yeah, all right, what the fuck? He's talking to himself. You know, it's efficient. I'm saying, like, it's what you got, like, it gets the job done. It's messy as hell. Normally do that shit in like a tub or something. Also, I was gonna say, why is this the only option? Damn, Rip. So, and again, this is. So I was gonna say, so again, so what are we supposed to do here? Just like, damn, go ahead, right? And what's funny is, she still has rounds. We know this, right? So, yeah, and they're arguing about whatever petty bullshit. And again, she isn't able to, right? So, damn, Rip. So this is interesting, right? And what? All right, and here's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I was gonna say, this again. So this is, and it's interesting, because what I will say is that, because again, that's one thing we noticed, right? And a big thing that, or like I guess plot point of the route or story we chose was, ultimately, oh yeah, what would you call it? Basically that again the dream wasn't fulfilled despite the talisman seemingly showing visions of the future. That wasn't what came to be. So in this, however, we are basically at least on the verge of fulfilling. We see it kind of conjoin with again her vision, right? And again, so I am, because again, we still, and because that was what? Which ending did we just get? We got the one where Andrew wins a tag, where we literally, just kill her, right? So, and then, again, so we're on the next ending. But here's the, again, so what is this engage? Also, so again, this is what like, so what is the engagement ring? Again, that's why like I'm so confused about what this engagement ring item is like. again, because it's not even under like content items. Like the engagement in, I really do hate how it orders it by fucking like length. But like the engagement ring is just not, or maybe it's just ring. Maybe it's just ring. It's not. So that's why it's like I'm very, like curious because it's like, where are we even supposed to find this? Like, is this even a relevant thing? Like, I guess maybe not. It might just genuinely not be like, I mean, I can look at the Steam conditions. Like, I feel like that's a good enough, what would you call it? So let me take a look at the Steam, right? Because the Steam is usually, so I'm at 12 out of hold on, let me reopen this because I think it might have so what locked achievements? Unknown someone summoned an unknown entity, time capsule, splat. So there again, there are achievements for both of these. Again, that's why I'm like, there's some, weird like I'm really curious as to how people, get these like, oh yeah, saying some bullshit like, okay, so this is interesting. This is actually pretty interesting because I'm pretty sure when we're going through, because I do remember this, I'm pretty sure we played as Andrew in these, in the other like half of Decay, right? So, but obviously because he's unconscious, we're playing, because again, we go and get whatever bullshit nonsense, at the store, right? But instead, we're playing as Leyley, right? So, yeah, also I was gonna say kind of so crazy thing to say, apparently just casually main to that, yeah, and she's like, you know, yeah, she's like, I'm gonna be honest, I really do not care. Like, and here's the thing, right? Low key, and again, this is it's kind of like you do in a set again, you do kind of need to feel bad for again, Renee, obviously, their parents, right? You do kind of need to feel bad for them a bit. But again, it is also like I do think there is again something to say about like I mean again especially like it sucks having especially like let's put it this way because if they're not let's put it this way if they're not twins, right? So, assuming Andrew and Ashley aren't twins, they had one kid when they knew damn well they weren't ready to. If you have another kid, like at that point, it's kind of like odd. I mean, and especially like since their problem child was their youngest, again, it's like, there's something to be said about that there. Oh yeah, says some bullshit. Oh yeah, what is she doing? Ripped up the stupid fucking picture, right? Oh yeah, because she realized she betrayed you. So we're seeing Andrew come home, right? And he's like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, no shit. But obviously, we know for her it's a different. Again, like because for Andrew, it's eating him up on the inside because of the moral, repercussions. For Ashley, it's because whatever bullshit, right? And again, so and this is interesting because this is like a moment of clarity almost for like especially young Ashley. Like again, it's very interesting. Like there's like a moment of clarity, right? Through all of her just, you know, like through what's the good term for it? You know, again, through like let's say just all of her like absolute like it's a D word. I don't know. I can't remember what is. So, damn, fell asleep. Stupid ass question. Damn, and waking up. Can I please save the damn game? Oh, we got a vision. Interesting. So, can I please save the game? Like, okay. So, here's the thing, right? So, we are on first let's go for this vision. So, which one did we get? Was it this far left one? Young woman on the phone. I'm pretty sure we've seen this. Mother's intuition. We've seen this. So, I guess it's this one. Coming to realization? I think it might be this one. Bitch, all right, random ass. So this is interesting. We're getting visions of Renee's own family, right? So, oh yeah, I was gonna say the phone book, like dumbass question. So Connie, was that her sister? All right, so I feel like we can put the pieces together, right? Yeah, hangs up. Yeah, just ignore that shit. And again, I mean, but that's like so. I feel like we get an instant, kind of like funny enough, they can really portray, like exactly like their situation, like in like the least like amount of dialogue, possible, right? Because we know basically that, clearly Renee was the unfavored, kid, right? So and ultimately that's something that seemingly persisted its way into adulthood, and that's why they're asking her for a kidney transplant. And that's like knowing damn well that like again, at the end of the day, it's ironic, a person they focused on so much, needs the help of the one they neglected. So, you know, Only 15. And again, so and this is so and again, obviously it's in relation to her having kids. So, and granted, like I'm gonna be honest, like, because I talk about this, like I'm like 24, right? About to turn 25. I feel just ready. Granted, obviously I'm not married, right? So there's some certain steps, that come before that, right? But it is just like only now, a few years after having graduated college, would I say I feel ready to like or potentially consider having kids, right? Like I don't think at any point before this I would have been ready. So again, thinking about someone nearly a decade younger than me like is kind of insane. And it's also like, I mean, granted, because I was gonna say, like it's one thing if she like, because it's like, let's be real here, right? I don't think, she actively chose to have kids, right? It was probably more like an accidental thing. But then that gets into the whole issue of like, oh, I mean, shit, like I know at least in me it was drilled like people all right, so people will say some shit, but like the one thing that like, sex had like drilled into me was like again, like the dangers of like unprotected sex. Like let's be real here. That was the one thing that was drilled into me and as well as like just drugs, right? Like not doing drugs basically. Those were like the two things that were drilled into me. So, it's something to where like there's no real like excuse for like this to end up being this issue. So it's like it's a question of, Renee's like intentions here, right? And again, I was gonna say like, because that is also because that's kind of the reality. If you have kids, it's like you kind of do need to rely on parental support, especially if you already live under their roof. So, it is something to where it's like, again, since that wasn't what she received, because chances are she received that, things would be very different. but go through with everything. Yeah, but also like to be fair, Loki, that's like horrible mentalities where it's like you can like again, I think it's like a parent thing. Like I really don't know what it is, or like I think it's like, my parents' generation. Like, there's kind of a mentality, because, like, I think, because, like, let's put it this way, the parental generation of, like, boomers and beyond, like, like, real, like, old people, it's, like, kind of like, oh, just do what I want, or, like, oh, you do what I say, or I'll beat you, or, I'll do whatever. Like, you live under my house. Like, basically, like, that's kind of the mentality, right? You know, but I think it's a weird thing where I think my parents' generation specifically, I think there's like a mentality where it's because like I was never beat by my parents, right? You know, but they're in, again, the one thing I talk about is them having held me back, is kind of like the biggest thing. But I do think a lot, at least a lot of like my friends and just people I know, a big thing is like this idea of like, oh, you treat your kids like a certain way and then you kind of try to like take that back when you're older, right? Because I think the older, like let's say the generation, like I feel like it's like, you know, her husband's dad, right? Mr. Graves, dad, like versus like this. It's like the other, type, the other side of the coin where it's like, you can do what you want and then try to like reel them back in, like, but you're again, one, you're assuming that's even gonna work. Two, it's like again, not like again, it's quite frankly delusional, right? So, that wife beater's house. Damn, is that her husband? Douglas? Oh yeah, I forgot his name was Douglas. You know. And again, that's the interesting thing about so confirmed, Douglas's dad, beats his wife, right? I guess that's a confirmed thing now. You know. Daughters and art. So it's interesting. I mean, granted, all right, because I was gonna say we literally do know that the son is actually at the top of his class. Granted, the daughter meeting because that's a stretch. That is a stretch of hell. Reach to hell, right? But so also bullshit. Yeah, all right. This she's just straight up bullshit at this point. I was gonna say, yeah, straight up bullshit at this point. But kind of need to get the last word. Damn, what the fuck? It took us this damn long to actually get like, a scene in like a story between these two. Like, I was gonna say, it took us this fucking long to actually get interaction between these two. And I was gonna say, you almost do have to feel bad for them at this point, but then again, you also remember what they did to Andrew and Ashley, right? So again, but that's why it's like it's a self-fulfilling, prophecy, right? You have um again, all right, also about to get to an interesting point. You have again, obviously, Douglas's family issues, Renee's family issues. You have them, and then now you have the issues that they have with their kids, right? Let's see, Anders. Who the hell is Anders, And again, it's in it, all right. All right, and again, this is what's interesting because this is after Ashley basically said, "Yeah, we killed the fuck out of them," and that's why she felt bad, not because it was on her conscience or she was a morally upstanding child, right? But rather, again, that she accidentally let that slip. Also, yeah, all right. I wouldn't have told. All right, I'm not gonna lie. I would not have told him immediately. That's something you need some time to sit and think about, right? Like that's kind of a crazy thing. So, all right, yeah, stupid ass. What? I was gonna say like, I mean, it's deliberate murder. Like I was gonna say. Also, wait, I was gonna say, is this stupid? Is this the first time we're actually getting what would you call it? Character of Douglas? Who knows? But I was gonna say, they killed him and buried him. Like it's one thing if they accidentally die. Like let's put this like, let's say it's like, all right, Omori was more than accidental death. Like it's one thing if let's say you accidentally, you get in an accident that leads to someone's death. Versus just straight up killing someone is like, let's see, And again, what's interesting is if Ashley would just never open her big fat mouth, So, because again, I'm pretty sure, and that's interesting because I'm pretty sure, damn, what the fuck? Because I was gonna say we play as them in this scene if we come back, right? So, all right, crazy thing to say. Yeah, and again, it's interesting. Andrew's like, "Oh shit," and then Ashley just says, "Yeah, mistake." Just says some bullshit, right? Yeah, and again, it's interesting, how he's bringing that. So, all right, this is a crazy fucking sequence of events, right? Like, and this really just goes to showcase how everyone's just mentally deranged. Deranged was the term I put it. Because here's the thing: a normal person in Renee's shoes, if they come to the conclusion or actually, like, let's say, make that connection, that's something you got to sit on. Like, you're not just going and doing shit. Like, that's something you need to like sleep on. Like I would need to take some time to like collect and gather my thoughts and be like, what the fuck is going on? I wouldn't immediately be like, I wouldn't tell my spouse like, oh yeah, our kids took care of him, and then just like confront like that's like a crazy thing, you know. Oh shit. You pulled that number out of your ass. All right, yeah, and interesting. So let's see, and yeah, the demon's still, playing so I'm curious how so I'm really curious where this fucking like engagement ring bullshit is, right? But who the fuck knows? Again, yeah, all right, that's interesting. We get the demon. So what I'm gonna do though is I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm going to end this part here. It's already been 50 minutes, so it's late anyway. And basically what I'm gonna do and what's gonna happen is I'm going to continue on with this, right? I'm not going to go back and bother because again, you do have one ending, but like the item isn't even listed on the wiki, and if I Google T Cole engagement ring location, nothing shows up. So again, it's like okay, wait. Episode 2 walkthrough. Okay, hold on. So fandom, I was gonna say, so hold on, do we actually have something? So any interaction, what the fuck? All right, burial route choice. So Andrew's dream, the grave's home. Wait, what? All right, stars. What the fuck? I don't think there's anything here. So I'm just I can show you what I'm doing. So I'm just going because I'm really trying to see because theoretically, so 666 bucks. I don't think I got this achievement. This damn, they used this pick for the achievement. I was gonna say I don't think I interacted with that. Maybe I did. Who knows? So yeah, and again, so it's I still think it's crazy that this choice here is probably one of the most important. I think this is a pretty crazy like so again, who knows though, right? But I still goddamn it. I have like a little wrist thing for my so I still think it's crazy that this is one of the most important choices in the game. So keys which we have again, but this is so where again, I'm logically I feel like it should be here. And again, I was gonna say the island flower is unnecessary. So that's how you get the extra interact with the present is don't tell me that's how you get the engagement ring. It might actually genuinely be this fucking present. I just need to verify, because it honestly might be. Yeah, I was gonna say this is how we killed him, you know. So yeah, and then this is where it branches out, you know. Trust him, fuck that. So obviously we chose fuck that, and that's what put us on Decay. So, but this is so interact with the three, but also this one like makes literally zero difference. So alternatively, trust him and then accept. What? So don't tell me. That might be how burial route dream. So burial, we're not on there yet. So decay route dream. So also, oh my God, I'm just realizing this bullshit. So I'm just realizing, hey, I gotta throw it out there. If decay route came to fruition, that means we know what's coming up in the burial round, right? I was gonna say, I think we know what's about to happen. Also, hold on. So why can't, all right, so I was gonna say some bullshit, you know. Then you get the present. So they should do something about the saves. Yeah, I was gonna say they low key, you know. So this guides. Hold on. I was all right. Why the fuck is this shit? All right. So I should because chances are there's probably a guide for it. How to get all endings. You know, so bro, and of course, dude, I swear to God, this game is the Gooner epidemic, John Doe. So burial. All right. Trust Andrew and decline outcomes, you know, sane path. Wait, this is burial. What? I was gonna say you're kidding. So burial. Well, how the fuck do I get to, decay? So you can that's interesting. So maybe if you choose accept, I feel like that has to be, you know, so all right. So yeah, I damn they're just like putting any so again, I just want to see, Graves and shot Andrew picked also once they are on so all right, so what's interesting, inside the cult, so this is kind of a spoiler because we do remember we go back to the cultists, right? So here's the thing. It not collected. So the ring is an episode. So all right, I think I realize what's going on. I think I realize what's going on, and I think I massively, massively overcomplicated this. And the reason being, and here's the thing, right? So I just need to verify this. I think I'm massively overcomplicated. I was overcomplicating this because I saw that the player collected the engagement ring was option three. So so apparently you just collect. So we're on glide path. That's what I wanted to confirm. So we're actually on glide path to get both of these endings. It's just it's still some point later in the episode we actually collect it. So we'll see there, right? I just wanted to verify that. So that's all I need to play here. We're gonna just continue on. So with that, don't really much else to say. So yep, that's it for this one. See you in the next one.